Hi creatives, I am Dima and you're welcome to another interesting tutorial. On today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how to cut and sew a cut together ruched shoulder asymmetric basque dress with gathers. If this sounds like what you've been interested in, then you have to stick around till the end. You can choose to slant your dress whichever way you choose, whether right or towards your left. Okay, so right here I am starting with a my paper, and of course you can see the fabric I'm using is a pure cotton fabric that I got in bale. That is what I'll be using for this, and it's not really up to 3 yards, but you can budget, okay, let's say 3 yards, okay, because it's almost 3 yards. So what I did was to go ahead and draw my shoulder measurement divided by 2 and then mark the basic neckline, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Then go ahead and connect it just as you can see me do. After connecting it, you have to come to your shoulder slope and take 1 inch there and then connect to the neckline. Just like this, then I had to drop 5 inch there for the across chest, went in by 3 1/4, that is 3/4 inch. Okay, what I'm marking right here is bust measurement divided by 4 so that I can draw my armhole. Okay, so right here is the front half length. So go ahead and take your front half length. Mine is 17.5 and I had to go ahead and draw it. So next is to draw the armhole. Measure around your arm, the uppermost part of your arm that attaches to the body. Whatever you get, add 2 inches to it. That is your armhole. So I divided that value by 2 and that is what I imputed here. Okay, drawing from the shoulder tip to the across chest and then touching the bust measurement by the side. I hope this makes sense. So I had to go ahead and measure waist measurement divided by 4 plus that intake of 1 inch. Now I connected to the bust line by the side like so. Now the next is the bust level. Here I have 11.5 and then bust to bust is 3.5. That is 7 divided by 2, that is 3.5. I did the same here and took 1/2 inch on both sides for my dart intake. Now I connected to the bust point just as you can see me do, just as easy as that. So I had to draw the side bust dart right now, which is 1.5 inches. That is the difference between the front half length and the back half length. So that is what I have right here. I measured here and got the midpoint and connected to the bust point to get that will be helping our ruched shoulder. Okay, so right here is the hip measurement, which is 8 1/4 or 8.5 depending on your client. So that is what I measured here, and then I ruled my horizontal line right there. I'm going to measure the hip. So anything your hip measurement is, divide by 4 and impute right there. Then connect this to the waistline just as you can see me do. Yes, just go ahead and cut out your pattern. I had to cut out the pattern hit like right now like this because it's later that I'll be slanting up what I need to slant. So you can choose how you want to slant it. It is strictly by choice. So what we are going to do now is the back measurement. Okay, back draft. I just measured the shoulder divided by 2 and I drew that vertical line. Then basic neck is 1 inch by 3 1/4 inches. Okay, that is what I took there and I connected just as you can see me do. That is the shoulder slope of 1 inch and you connect to the neckline just like we did for the front. Now this is the across back. Now you're going by half instead of 3/4 like in the front. And then this is the bust measurement divided by 4. I had to go ahead and mark it so that I can easily mark the armhole. Okay, so after drawing that, I had to go ahead and draw the armhole by touching the shoulder tip and then the across back and then where the armhole measurement touches the bust measurement by the side. Okay, connect just as you can see me do and then go ahead and take the back half length. For the front is 17.5, for the back it is 16 for me. Yes, the difference is 1.5, so I had to rule that line there. Then going here by half, from there measure your waist measurement divided by 2 plus 1 inch, that intake. So you connect to the side like that and then do your center back tightening with that 1/2 inch that we connected. Ensure it doesn't get to the end of the armhole. That is what I am trying to demonstrate there. So right here is the hip measurement. Go ahead and take it and rule your horizontal line and go ahead and take your hip measurement divided by 4. So that is the intake that will be there, and we will go ahead and connect like this. Yes. So after connecting, I had to conclude the tightening, that is the back tightening, to avoid zipper bulge and all of that. So I had to go ahead and cut this out. So ensure that you trim it properly, not to leave any excess anywhere. So here I am trimming the back tightening, and this is our back pattern while this is the front pattern. Now watch closely to see what I am going to do with the front pattern, because I'm going to start with the front pattern. So now you're going to open up this line, okay, and then open the side bust dart. What I'm doing right now is transferring the side bust dart to the shoulder. So now this is a shoulder dart, and I had to stick close the side bust dart so you can see what it looks like right now. So this is what we have for the front, and I'm just going in here by 1/4 and dropping it further by 1 inch and connecting, because you can see that the neckline of the dress that we are making is not directly on the neck, and it looking more like canoe like. I hope this makes sense. So go ahead and modify your neck just the way you want it. So I had to go in here again by 1/4 and then connected to that place. So I dropped the neckline of the back by 1/2 inch extra, okay, but by the side neck is still 1/4, just like the front. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and fold my fabric. So I'll put my fabric on fold, just as you can see me do, and this fabric stretches in one direction and is stretching like widthwise, so I didn't keep the stretch lengthwise. So if you don't want this dart, you can take it out from the side. That's what I'm trying to explain here. You can just take that measurement by the side and take it out by the side. But I don't see anything wrong with running the dart there, so that is why I left mine like that. So but if you don't want it, you can transfer the dart to the side and of course take it out from the side. So I had to add extra 2.5 inches here and then connect it to the armhole, just as you can see me do. And yes, that is to add to the ruche. But if you want a wider ruche, you can expand it more. Feel free to expand it more if you want a wider ruche. Yes. So right here I am going to go ahead and, if you like, you can drop the slant to 2 inches below the waistline, or from the waistline, anyhow you want, anywhere you want your slants to start from. But I'm not going to do this slant till I finish cutting out. I cut it out first the way it is, and then before cutting out the slant, what I wrote there is the remaining length. Wherever you want your slants to start, from, ensure that you add up the remaining length you want for the gown from there. I hope this makes sense. Okay, if your total length of gown is, let's say, 40, and you want to start the slants from the half length, of course you should know that the remaining length will be 40 minus the half length. So that is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so anywhere you want to start your slant from, the higher part of the slant, not the lower end, so that is where you take your gown length from, because the other lower length will be dropping. Okay, you are more interested in the higher part. So right here I am measuring exactly what the shoulder of the front is after, with the dart transfer and of course the 2.5 inches I added. So this is exactly the same shoulder length measurements with the front. That is what I did now, and I connected to the armhole. That is what I did for this back, and this is what I have. I'll go ahead and cut it out, just as you can see me do. So measure the front shoulder and ensure that the back shoulder is exactly the same with the front. So that is what I did, and I had to cut it out like this. If you have a confusing fabric, always remember to mark the front and the back when you still have the tip of the fabric on, okay, so that you easily know where the back is, and of course mark it so that when you are stitching or applying interfacing or anything, it will be very easy and smooth. So after doing this is what I have. My own slants, I started from the waistline, okay? I started from the waistline, and I like my slants always, even when I'm cutting a symmetrical neckline for top, I like it to the, you know, higher point to be by the right, while the lower point is by the left. Is always my preference. But if you prefer it the other way, just feel free to do you, okay? But I have a feeling that this right to left drop is always better for me, okay? And that is what I'm doing here. I just took where the right of the back is, that's on my waistline, and I'm using my tape to just connect it to the left part. So the left part is drawing, so is dropping, while the right side is the higher side. So that is what I'm doing now. I'm drawing this from the right to the left, and I ended it before the seam allowance, okay? I ended it before the seam allowance, the notch of the seam allowance, and I had to cut. So that is what I mean by I had to cut it out first before the slant. So I had to go ahead and do the same for the front. Please do not make mistake here. Ensure that you know where the right is before you do whatever you want to do, okay? So here I notched the waistline. So that half-inch drop from the waistline is just to take care of the seam allowance for joining. So that is why when I mark the notch for the waist, I drop it by 1 inch, by half-inch, sorry. That is the seam allowance. So you can see me that I'm connecting from the right side to the left, yes, so that this will also match the back, because the back I also marked it from the right side to the left side. So do the same thing for the front so that everything will rhyme. And I also ended this slant before the seam allowance by the left side. I hope this makes sense. So after all of this, I'm going to start joining it together. Put your darts and start joining the sides and of course the shoulder line. So that is what I'm doing now. I'm arranging all of this together to take care of the side and the shoulder, to start stitching the side and the shoulder. So what I am measuring here is the remaining length that will form the gathers, okay? That is what I'm measuring here. So make sure that you do the same, do your own calculations. I've already told you how to do it. Length that you want, the desired length that you want, the shortest length that you want for your gown, minus wherever you are taking your slant from, the higher part of your slant. Anything remaining is what you're going to take as the length of this fabric you're cutting for the gather. And the gather width is going to be, anywhere you are putting the gather, measure it times 2.5, times 2.5, so that it will be enough to form the gather. You can also do times 3, but it will be fuller, okay? So that is the measurement I used for mine, times 2.5. Times 2 will still go, but it will be scantier. So right here I have finished stitching everything, the side, the dart, the shoulder and all, and I've also gone ahead to serge where should be serged. So it's just to go ahead and trim off any thread, any serging thread that is there. So the next thing is to measure the length of the elastic that is needed. Now the elastic needed is measure where you want to put the elastic and subtract 3 inches from there. So that is what I did. I measured the length of the shoulder and subtracted 3 inches from it, and then that is what I cut as elastic. So I'll go ahead and stitch it down. As I stitch, I'll drag slightly, and after dragging, this is what I got, and that is the shoulder ruched already. So that is how to ruche your shoulder. I'll go ahead and close up the armhole because I've already serged round there. I'll just close it up, stitch it down. That is what I mean. Now the next is to stitch here slightly, then form your gather. This gather has stitch on both sides, which will rhyme with the side seam of the upper. So that is what I did, and this is the outcome. Do you like it? If you like it, give me a thumbs up, comment, share, so that others will see these beautiful videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for always stopping by to watch my videos. I do not take it for granted. I love you all, and of course I'll see you in my next one. Bye.